If you want to eat more vegetables and actually look forward to eating them instead of like, 8 nights in a row of frozen and then steamed broccoli, you've got to try vegetable korma. Simply put, it's a sauce seasoned with Indian spices and yogurt and coconut that you throw a ton of parboiled vegetables in to simmer. It's great eaten right away, but is also one of my favorite dishes to eat as leftovers. A massive 375 gram bowl of this clocks in at 291 calories, and you can eat it as a main dish or a side dish. It's the perfect way to use up any vegetable you may have laying around. So there are countless versions of, a vegetable curry or vegetable korma all across Southeast Asia and India, but I'm going to cover the version that I've kind of adapted for my home kitchen. It's fairly traditional as it's based off the technique from Madhur Jaffrey, except I've kind of changed up some of these spices and ingredients for my taste preferences and what I actually have on hand. But first, let's break down the base components. From At Home with Madhur Jaffrey, she notes the base premise of this dish is parboiled vegetables dressed in a coconut and yogurt-based sauce. Further breaking it down though is the spice mixture used to season the sauce, and this is what gives the dish its delicious appeal. For the vegetables, you can quite literally use anything. Carrots, cauliflower, peas, and potatoes are all pretty classic, but zucchini, bell peppers, onions, eggplant, sweet potato, seriously anything can be thrown into this. Next is the coconut yogurt sauce. Traditionally, this is a mix of freshly grated coconut, plain yogurt, and water or stock to thin it out. For me though, I prefer to use coconut cream and plain yogurt with the water. The coconut cream gives the same coconut flavor and can be found at most grocery stores. Another option is to use coconut milk, which is coconut boiled with water at a 1:1 ratio compared to 4:1 for coconut cream. Now you could also just skip the coconut altogether, it will still taste great, but I definitely think it's a worthwhile addition. Lastly are the spices, which are infinitely variable depending on the taste and what you may have in your pantry. Madhur Jaffrey uses cayenne, mustard seeds, a dried red chili, and fresh curry leaves in hers, but you'll see plenty of other recipes with over 10 different spices in them. You can make it more or less complex depending on what you have, but with that, let's go through my at-home version. To start, get out a pot of water and place it on the burner, and meanwhile we can prep the vegetables. So I've chosen potatoes, carrots, cauliflower, and frozen peas, as these are typical veggies I'll have on hand from the store. And for this dish, I'll cube up the potatoes and do a roll cut on the carrots, but I like leaving some bigger chunks of cauliflower in there for some reason. Now separately, I've minced up a green chili, about 1/4 of an onion, and 1 tomato, as this is kind of the aromatic base that is going to help create our sauce later. I mean, since I have the knife out now, you may as well cut everything you need to. When the water has boiled, you're going to toss in a large pinch of salt and then add in the chopped vegetables. We're just looking to kind of par cook them here for a couple minutes so they become tender and get some color. You definitely don't want to be making mashed potatoes here. Meanwhile, we can make the spice mixture. Add whole mustard seed and cumin seed to a mortar and pestle and grind them up. Once ground, add 2 cloves of peeled garlic and a knob of ginger until a smooth paste forms. Now we'll get back to that in a bit, but meanwhile drain the vegetables when they are done cooking, and you can place a pan over medium heat and add a couple tablespoons or about 30 grams of oil. Once the oil is hot, we're going to add the chili, onion, and tomato from earlier and saute for about 1 to 2 minutes until they become lightly brown and translucent. Then you're going to follow that with the ginger garlic paste spices along with a hefty sprinkle of Kashmiri chili powder and turmeric powder for color and some spice. Once cooked for another 1 to 2 minutes, you're going to add the coconut cream and the plain yogurt, stir them together, and let the sauce cook to develop some flavor. Now it's time to add some water to thin out the sauce. For this, I go based on feel, and I definitely added a little too much initially in this version. I'll show you how to fix that in just a bit. Now add the steamed vegetables, and we're going to let this cook for another probably 10 to 15 minutes to just let those flavors get to know each other, and also don't forget the frozen peas like I nearly did. Now while this is cooking down for about 10 minutes, you can easily get all the dirty dishes done and set to dry. So at this point, the sauce is definitely too thin for my liking, so I'm just going to add an extra spoonful of yogurt to help thicken it. You could definitely add more coconut cream as well. Also, just letting the sauce cook longer will evaporate excess water, and it will also thicken up as it cools, so just keep an eye on it to kind of dial in that consistency that you want. Lastly, and most important, you need to taste it and add salt. Even though there are tons of spices and stuff in here, it will taste bland if there is no salt added. And as always, we aren't adding salt to make it taste salty, but instead to enhance what is already there. And that's all there is to it. It's vegetable korma, spoon it out, top it with some cilantro, you could serve it with rice or a flatbread, and you will be in vegetable heaven. Let's taste test. All right, everybody, taste test time. I'm not even gonna bother like switching lenses to the normal shot. I'm just really hungry, so we are going to dive into this. It's another one of those dishes that I can absolutely just crush. Kind of like the orzo salad, like the textures of it and then the flavors are super, super nice. So traditionally, well, I guess I should say, the versions that I have typically aren't very spicy. They're much more muted. I like mine with a little bit more spice, so that's why I added the green chilies, the fresh green chilies, and the Kashmiri chili powder. Because it's really nice paired with the creaminess of the coconut, because you got the coconut up front, and then you get the spice on the back, which I am really addicted to. It's such a nice flavor kind of profile to have in there. But if you don't want spice, just kind of disregard those two items. I mean, or whatever spice you throw at this, you guys are gonna like this. It's such just a good meal to make, especially if it is winter time, you know, it's cold maybe where you are. This is something that you can warm up. You will crush a whole bowl of this. I forgot to get out the rice. Like, that's how much I like this. It doesn't need anything else. You know, you could serve it as a main, serve it as a side dish, do whatever you want, and seriously, just throw in vegetables, whatever you have. It doesn't have to be this exact mix. You're gonna come up with something delicious. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. Be sure to drop me a like and subscribe if you had. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.